amazing. So you have this with Pace, you get your first deal. Tell us a little bit more. What keeps happening?
Yeah, so get the first deal, get proof of concept. I'm never gonna forget it. I'm back home in New York. I'm sitting in my red pajamas inside my bedroom, and that check clears from title. It was a whopping $4,000, but it was life
Woo-wee!
changing, bro.
Hey,
Life changing.
4K when you're negative 30 or whatever you are at this point, dude. Like, it's worth it.
Dude, it was just like that money was proof of concept that like this
Right.
thing works. I can make money from my bedroom. I can make money from my cell phone, from my computer. Let's keep going. So I kept going, kept doing some more wholesale deals, was doing it virtually at this point. So I was living in New York, doing a lot of my deals out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That was, later on turned out to be one of a market that's really good to me, a market that I'm still in to this day. I think I did maybe about like 20 or so transactions before
Nice.
I started to wonder. One day I sold this property, right? I had sold this property that I had under contract that every buyer kept telling me no. Every buyer was like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. No, too much. You locked it up too high. And then one buyer came along, and not only did he buy it from me, he like paid 10 grand of an assignment. So it wasn't even like it was like a just get rid of it. It was like a nice assignment fee. And so I started to question, what's this guy seeing that I didn't see and that all the other people didn't see? Like, why was he willing to buy this property from me for $10,000 more than I even had it under contract for? So that day I ran the numbers as if I were going to buy it. And funny enough, although I had been doing this business for, almost a year and a half now, I had never run the numbers for myself. I was
Right.
always just focused on running it to sell it. I never asked myself what it would look like for me to keep a property. So when I ran the numbers, I realized that where he bought it, he was still getting a 25% cash on cash return. And I was
Love
like,
it.
holy crap. Like that means in 4 years, essentially, this guy's making all his money back. And then everything after that is just profit. And I was like,
Right.
and if I had bought it, like I would have been getting like closer to like a 31% cash on cash return. Like this is nuts. Why am I throwing these things away? Because after I do a wholesale deal, I started to notice I would have this like, crap, I got to go find the next deal. I started to get like that feeling of like it was a job again. I had to go look for
Right.
the next deal. So at this point, I realized I want to hold property and I'm going to become a buy and hold investor.
Nice.
And so one of the guys that used to go and walk properties for me and he would take pictures for me because I was doing a lot of this virtually. One day he reached out. He's like, hey, you want to do a deal together? I'm like, heck yeah, man. Like, let's do it. He's a young guy. I'm a young guy. We've been working together for the last few months. And Jonah, this is how like naive I was. I'm like, yeah, we'll just buy this property. We'll refinance it. It won't even be a big deal. We'll just hit that typical Burr strategy. Bro, I never even paid attention to what it meant to be financeable. So I didn't realize I wasn't bankable. So we bought this property. We're like, yeah, we're gonna refinance it. We're talking to the lender and we're telling them our plan. And they're like, all right, cool. Can you give us your, your tax returns and all that good stuff and like your papers? And I'm like, oh crap, bro. Like I've been unemployed since like the beginning of COVID, dude. Like I
Right.
collected unemployment for a few months, man. Like
They didn't like your business income.
they did not like the business income because the first 8 months of making no money does not look very good.
Fair enough.
So it was, and the money was inconsistent, So like some months money was coming in, some months money wasn't coming in, just being honest with people. So what happened was in that moment, we're like, we're screwed. We can't get loans right now. Like he's not like he's still working on getting himself bankable. I'm still working on getting myself bankable. What did we have to do? We pivoted. We started a flip company and we
Hmm.
flipped that sucker. Luckily, we bought it deep enough that we are able to go ahead and turn it and flip it on the market. So that's actually where our flipping business was birthed.
Nice.
And to this day, we still do. We're in the middle of doing 4 flips right now, so we still flip actively in the Midwest because you can, at least in our market right now, and we're buying deep enough to do so.
Nice. Hell yeah. So tell me a little bit. Let's go through when should someone switch from wholesaling, in your opinion? I still mainly wholesale, to be honest. I do a lot of different things. I understand the buy and hold stuff. It's just that I've been doing California and I don't want to own any property in California really. Like, but I could have done flipping here, but it's just what you can do for wholesale is just awesome here. This is like my thing with California. I think California is the best wholesaling and flipping market in the nation and the worst buy and hold market. And I could get into that for a bunch of different reasons. Basically, I haven't been doing buy and hold that much because of that, although I'm about to start in Colorado. I'm going to buy a lot more of those properties. But anyways, what do you, just in general, what do you think, when do you think somebody should start transitioning, start upgrading from like wholesaling to flipping to buy and hold to commercial, whatever? Like, when do you think you should start leveling up?
Yeah, good question. So I would say after you make enough money that the money doesn't matter anymore, if that makes any sort of sense. And like the people, I think some people know exactly what I mean, and I'll get into a little bit more detail, but like everyone like gets to that place where you make more money than you're even really spending, than you even really need. And you're just like, man, what's going on? What am I doing this for? So like when you hit that point, that means you now have enough money to, in my opinion, to mentally transition to a different model. If you're in that place where you're still hustling just to break even, just to pay your bills, just to take care of the day to day, then yeah, you've got to go out and work on these earned income strategies. Like there's no question about it. You got to go earn money. But then once you're earning that money, so, and everyone, that number is going to look different. You know, so some people, it's, you know, simply having like an additional $10,000 in their savings account and having no debt. And they're like, cool, I've made it. Other people are like, no, I got to hit like that 100K safety net. Like, so when your safety net is built, now I believe you should be looking at transitioning your mindset to, okay, how do I become an investor now? Because I've taken care of the simple day to day. I've taken care of my regular needs. I'm living within below my means. I've got my budgeted money account. And now I can go over and start focusing on the buy and hold, because the buy and hold is a different animal. It's a different sort of beast.
It's a whole different business.
Totally different business model. It's a different way of thinking. It's a marathon versus a sprint. So you've got to be able to withstand the eventual storms that come during this marathon. And if you're in a place where you're still struggling to break even, which this unfortunately happened to a lot of people back in 2008, they were over leveraged. They weren't ready to withstand the storm, and they ended up having to sell things off at a loss. They couldn't handle holding on to their properties during downturns of markets. Right. So they got into it with the wrong mindset. So if a person's established, if they're been wholesaling and they get to that place where they're like, okay, you know what, Marlon, I've taken care of my needs. I've got a 6-month, I would say you want to have a 6-month runway of, if no new money was generated, no new money came into your business for 6 months, you would still be good to take care of your bills, take care of your family, your lifestyle, wouldn't have to adjust drastically. Then I would say at that point, it would make sense to begin looking at the next buy and hold. Or very simply, when you've established and stabilized your active income. If you worked hard to build that active income, stabilize it. Get your SOPs, get your employees. If you want to keep that pipeline turned on, which you should, it's the best thing. You want to have an active income turned on as well.
I like it. I love it. So let's go. I'm going to go back a little bit in your story, because there's a few questions that I forgot to ask that like I didn't interrupt you for, that I kind of want to go back into your story a little bit. When you were just starting out, like what inspired you so much for that 25K to be like, okay, I'm ready to commit 25K. I think like, I think this is it. I think this is good. Like what were like the pre-steps to even be able to get ready for that? Because I do think that's a really critical thing for somebody who's just starting out. And I haven't really talked to that many people who I've interviewed about that yet. So I really want to focus on that, since that's been a little bit more unique with you. So what were the steps that got you there? Like, why were you so convinced of real estate versus spending a 25K course on day trading, or what all the other stuff you were doing beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, like I want people to understand where I was at, like, you know, like, and like, let me take you back to actually like a Friday night. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm standing in the Elks Lodge catering hall that I had worked at from the time I was 13 years old. And I just thrown the mop down on the ground, and I'm in the building by myself. And for the very first time, I'm just reflecting on my own situation, and I'm realizing, dude, my life kind of sucks. Like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like the direction that this is going in. Because at that moment in my life, like I said, I was working. I had that one job. I loved the parkour stuff, but then I was also working nights in catering halls. I was working overnights at AutoZones, cleaning the floors. I had 3 jobs. You know, I was going to school full time. I was gearing up to go and become a physical therapist so I can go and, earn the money. And like for the very first time, I did what, Alex Hormozy refers to this as the rocking chair experiment. I didn't know it was a thing. I just did it on accident, where I mentally envisioned myself as a 90-year-old man just sitting on the rocking chair. And from that vantage point, I reflected back on my life. So from 90 years old, I'm looking backwards on the life I lived. And what I saw, Jonah, was I finished up school. I got the graduate's degree in physical therapy. I was making between like $80,000 and $120,000 a year. And I had the comfortable house in the suburbs with the stupid white picket fence and the stupid dog that yaps a little too loud. And that wife that, like, I don't quite hate her. I don't know if I love her, but like it's not much of an issue. And the kids are there, and I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about them. And that was the life I saw, bro. And that life disgusted me personally. Now, if that's their dream life, please do not take any offense to what I'm saying. If that's your dream, please live it and live it happily. However, for me, that felt like such a losing position. It felt like I was settling. It felt like I never went for the things that actually mattered. Right. So in that moment, that was when the mindset shifted of like, yo, you need to go figure something out. Like, you need to go and find something. And that's when the search began. So I didn't know it was going to be real estate. It was when I found real estate, when I met my first mentor, Pip Stellick. Shout out to Pip. When I met him, he had shown me a way. He had shown me that it was possible to earn a lot of money, to be extremely happy, and to help other people in the process. See, I had met these guys from multi-level marketing who showed me how to earn a lot of money, but I didn't really see how they were helping people. I saw the people who had learned how to earn a lot of money in stocks, but I didn't see them helping people. Like, I could not let go of this desire to serve other people. I couldn't. I worked with kids for too long. Like, that's such a major part of what drives me. So I couldn't let go of that fuel source. So real estate was this perfect little vehicle that gave me the best of both worlds. And it came with that $25,000 ticket price tag. And ultimately I decided, like, look, if worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, you know what, I'm going to lose this money and I'm going to fail. But again, like, that was when I was looking at a $12,000 package, because there was a cheaper package to buy, by the way. I don't know if I told people this. There was a $12,000 package that I could have bought that had like a little less hand holding, a little less material, things of that nature. And in my mind, I justified, if I try this and it doesn't work out, then whatever, I'll eventually earn that money back. But at that 25 mark, again, it was way too uncomfortable. It was way too painful to lose. I couldn't, in my right conscience, go up to you and say like, hey, John, I tried real estate, paid $25,000 and did nothing with it.
Right.
You know, so that's ultimately, that was what got me to that point of just, it was like a desperation. It was just being fed up of my own life is what got me to that point of making that decision of when real estate appeared to me in that light, it made sense in that moment.
Yeah, man. Like I constantly, I keep saying this over and over again on every single podcast I do, but like, it's just such an obvious pattern to me right now that it's two things that make people successful. One is a devil in behind you is what I call it, like desperation, something desperately pushing forward. For you, that was the 25K. And then the aspiration of like a better life. I think desperation is more important, but I think having both makes you insanely successful. I honestly, like, I'm at the point where I'm like, this is the common pattern with everyone. This is it, guys. I think you can fabricate desperation a little bit by like doing something like spending a ton of money on a course. I think that gives you that same like fear almost. I think I call this podcast Skorch the Fears, but maybe you're not scorching the fears. Maybe the fears are scorching you a little bit to push you forward, right? Like maybe it's like a little bit like maybe the lion in the upper right corner is like a little bit, it's like chasing you a little bit. Like maybe you are the lion and you're being chased by it. I don't know. I'll think some metaphorical stuff. But basically, you need that. And then you also need some aspiration, some goal you're trying to get to. And you got to be clear about it, guys. I bet, Marlon, you can talk to this too. Like, I've noticed that the people who have goals that are successful are very clear. I'm going to make 1.25 million in my wholesaling business this year by December 31st of 2023. I'm going to have made 1.25 million that year in revenue. Like that, it's very specific time sensitive. I'm telling the universe how it's through wholesaling, or I'll say active income because I sometimes do flips. Like any active income, it'll be 1.25 million this year. Like I promise you, that's going to happen. I think the desperation mixed with that is really what makes people successful. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Bro, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, two things. One, having that thing behind you that you're running from, because guess what? You run faster scared than you do any other
Yeah.
way. Like there's no question about it.
Yeah.
And then having that clear goal and clear vision. And this is the part that a lot of people, mess up on. The goal, it's not clearly defined. They don't actually know what it is they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited for even this coming year, right? 2023. I'm doing something that I had never done before that I've always wanted to do, and I'm finally making
Ooh,
it happen.
tell us
Which
what's good.
is, so check this out, bro. I'm doing a mastermind compound. So
Whoa.
what does that mean? It means I went out and this year we found a massive 4,700 square foot property, 6 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, pool, hot tub, just like sick property out here in Gilbert, Arizona. And I'm going to be opening this house up to 5 other housemates. These housemates are all going to be entrepreneurs coming together to live under a single roof for the sake of amplifying their business. I want this to be a business incubator for the entrepreneurs. And when they come in, unlike being a traditional, just, hey, we're people co-living in a space together, there's going to be house rules of holding individuals accountable and making sure that one of the qualifications for getting into the property is clearly defining what it is you're going to accomplish throughout the year of 2023, and then taking that clear goal and plastering it publicly inside the house for everybody to see, for you to see every single day, so that when you come back in, your focus is put up on the wall, put up on the board for you to always be diving into, so you know what you're moving towards. And not only do you know what you're moving towards, the people around you know what you're supposed to be moving towards. So I'm excited about that,
That's
because
sick as hell.
when a goal is clearly defined, people don't understand how much energy comes from simply clearly knowing where it is you're going. So I'm
I
excited as
love
hell
that.
for that.
Bro, if God, dude, I'm just not a fan of Phoenix. Otherwise, I'd be in that house immediately. I'm very like I love you guys so much. Like I love how everyone's in one place. I love how there's like a headquarters of Phoenix. I just wish it was like a city that wasn't in the desert. I'm just not a desert guy. Like I'm not as much about the heat, but that is an amazing idea, guys. If you get accepted into that house, oh my God, dude, that's like unbelievable. Like being surrounded by like in an environment that like makes that like that type of environment, man, that's like invaluable. That's like insane.
Well, you know what? It was the thing that changed my business the most. I refer to it as the campfire effect. It was that proximity, the power of proximity. When I started spending my time physically around other higher level entrepreneurs, around bigger thinkers, my life, my business, everything started to progress. It helped me uncover more clarity because I was able to have sounding boards, qualified sounding boards to go to with my ideas, to go to with my problems, to go to with my doubts and my worries. And I was able to grow through those situations. So I'm looking forward to it. If people are interested in that, by the way, guys, like the application is now live on my IG. It just went live
Nice.
like 2 days ago because we were waiting to make sure that the house was fully
What's the
locked
type
in.
of person you're looking for? Like who are you looking for? Somebody who has started their business, hasn't done a sale? Are you doing any ages? Like it sounds like you're living there. So like what's the criteria for the person?
Yeah, great question. So it's going to be a year-long lease at minimum. Each person is after every year is going to be reassessed to see if they want to continue living in the house and also see if they still fit to live in the house. The type of person that we're looking to bring into the property is going to be an entrepreneur. Now, I hate to say this, guys, if you're brand new and you haven't done anything yet, you won't qualify for the property yet
Right.
because it can't be someone who is brand spanking new, who hasn't proven the test of time yet. They haven't beaten the test of time. There is a power to having started something and stuck with it to produce your first bit of results. So you have to have some traction in the game. Now, I'm not going to say like, hey, it must be a 6-month minimum, because if you've been in your business for the last 3 months, but you've had your head down, you can produce a lot in 3 months if you're focused. So it's going to be based on the results people have produced in their business. The application is a pretty intense application. It asks them what they're earning. It asks them how long they've been in business, what industry they're in, have they ever invested into mindset or mastermind courses, do they have mentors, what their goals are. It's a very, very in-depth application. And ultimately, the individual I'm looking for is someone that has already broken through their first 5 figures in business, somebody who is looking to scale, someone who's looking to be around other like-minded individuals, somebody who is cleanly, someone who's already out of that phase of, look, I'm not looking to party anymore. Yeah, I might be young, I still have energy, but I'm not really looking to be in a frat house. I'm looking to take this next year to do what I have to do so that I can take the rest of my life and do what I want to do. That sort of mindset and energy is what I'm looking to attract. One of the housemates, and this is just a cheat code if you're looking to apply, if you are a videographer, if you are nasty with the camera and nasty with the edits and you're building a business around video, apply, because we are making a special spot for that person, because one of the people in the house will be on-site videographer, and we'll talk to them about what it looks like to, you know, compensate them for doing work of creating content, because I want a lot of content being produced out of this house. Think about what the real world was supposed to be before it started turning into just like hookups and all that craziness. In the very beginning, it was that whole show. If people don't know this, like the first season, the first episode was all about putting together young professionals.
Wait, what show? Say that again.
The Real World.
Oh, I've never heard of it, but okay, go on.
What? You never? Dang,
I don't
bro.
watch TV, dude. I didn't watch. I've watched Game of Thrones. I've watched, anyways. Like, there's not much TV. I'm not very in tune with TV. I'm a
No
YouTube
worries.
guy.
So some people might remember that show, The Real World, and the whole concept was they wanted to bring young professionals together and put them in this room, in this space, in this house, where the chemistry would create collaboration. It would create explosive growth for all of them in their careers. So essentially, I'm doing the same thing out here. So if people are interested, like I said, go DM me on Instagram at Mindset Marlon, DM me 2023, or DM me the word growth. Actually, just DM me the word growth. If you're interested in the application, just send me the word growth, GROWTH, and I will shoot you over the link so that you can apply.
You just FYI, there was something very critical you missed in that application, like requirements, that I want to throw in here too. Guys, you should be expecting to contribute to that house. Like, you should have something. You should not just be expecting to receive a bunch of like stuff and like motivation and environment stuff. You should be actively contributing to that environment. Like, it should almost like if I was part of this house, like I would be like, dude, you should be like, if you're gonna apply, you should pretend like you're gonna be the most shining example of all the rules or whatever. Like, you should be striving to be the best in that house. Like, that's the type of person who should apply and live with Marlon. Like, that's gonna be wild.
Bro, that is such like, and this is like the power.
You should be the best person.
Bro, this is the power of like collaboration. Like how you just said that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so good. Why is that not on my application? Right. So that's good. Like, I just wrote that down just now. Like, that's gonna be a part of the application. This is sick house. Like the house, dude, the house is going to be insane. And just so people know, like, if they're wondering when we're getting started, the first housemates are going to be moving in February. So that will give everyone enough time to get out of whatever leases they're in, to get their stuff together. You know, so I'm going to be, for the next few days, people are going to see on my social media, I'll be talking about this because I haven't been talking
is anybody I know in it already? I'm just curious. Is anybody in sub 2 or anything like that?
You do know one of the housemates. So I can announce one of the housemates because this housemate was a part of the inception of the idea. Daryl Ellison.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes,
that'll be sick. That's going to be a sick house.
Dude, it's going to be a sick house. Like, if anyone knows Daryl, like, they know homeboy is crushing it in sales. He's killing it in his business. And the energy that he's going to be bringing to that house is just unreal.
I love it. I love it, man. Man, that's just, I'm excited for you guys on that. But I always like asking this question. Like, if Marlon, if you could go to yourself as you were right before you were about to write that 25K check, what would you tell yourself? Like, literally in that moment, you've got a pen and you've got the checkbook. Like, what would you tell yourself now, knowing everything you know now? What would you tell your older self, or your younger self?
All right. You know what? That's a great question. And a few answers came to my mind, but the one that's the loudest is I would look him dead in like the pits of his soul. And I would just be like, bro, you're about to pay these people a lot of freaking money. Listen to every word they say and stop trying to do it your way. Because one of the biggest challenges I ran into in the beginning, and I just got to be honest, I'm so freaking human. I was listening to what they were telling me to do, but I was still trying to do it my way, bro. I was still trying to be in control. And it defeats the purpose of paying a mentor, of paying a coach, of paying a guide to take you to where you want to go if you're going to resist them every step of the way. And it wasn't until I finally relinquished control and I said, you know what? I'm putting you in charge of the thinking. I'm going to let you tell me what to do. And I'm going to be a good follower because we're leaders. And sometimes leaders forget that you have to be a good follower because the sort of follower you are will be the sort of followers you get.
I love it.
So
Wait, talk about that. I want you to talk about that for a second. What do you mean you didn't follow their method? Like, or like, what do you mean? Where was the resistance? Like, tell me, like, when you did that, like, what were you resisting?
Yeah, bro. I was resisting so many little things, right? Like when they were telling me, hey, you should market like this, I'm resisting. Oh, I don't want to market like that. When they're telling me to follow their scripts and to say it like this, I was still trying to just do things my way. When they're telling me to use the CRM and log the information and do it, I was still just trying to do it my way. So I was taking the action, but I was just trying to do everything in my own way, which was inefficient. They're telling me systems, 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 systems. And I'm over here and just being honest, like my ego was getting in the way. Well, look, I know everyone else needs systems, but I don't need systems. I can just kind of charm my way through a conversation. I can just like, it'll be all right. Like they'll just like me. And like, no, get the systems. Print out when you want to raise money, do it on, put out an investment portfolio, right? Start to show your credibility. Start to put your website together, right? Like it's not, these things aren't necessary. Yes, you can do it without it. However, look, people that are much more successful than I, people who are doing this at a higher level than me are showing me like, hey, look, you don't need these things, but trust me, do it anyway. You can do it without it, but you'll be getting deals done. You're not building a business. And there's a difference between getting deals done and building a business.
I love it. That's amazing advice. I really like that. Like, cause I think I've noticed that too, where people join mentorships and then it's like, dude, you just didn't follow the program. Like, why did you do this? Why did you join something and then just decide to do it your own way anyways? It's so silly. People are silly, man. I love it. Okay. That's my usual last question, I would say. What do you want to plug, man? Like what are you promoting? How can this audience get more of you? How do they contact you? We got the house. If you're trying to live in a sick house, guys, and like mastermind with, dude, just Marlon and Daryl are like amazing. Having those two in your house constantly would be pretty damn fun, and B, like it's just like obviously you're gonna be so just inculcated. I don't know if that's a word. I think it is inculcated in like the space and like constantly being around it. Cause like I am very good at making it where I'm around it when I'm by myself, but it is also very hard. Like I'm back in San Francisco right now. I have a lot of friends here and it's very easy for me to fall back into old habits of like drink. At least for me, I don't mind doing it like when it's New Year's. It's fine for me, but like definitely one of the main reasons I moved to Denver was like I need my own space. I need my own, like this is going to be my life. But if I had 5 other people with me also doing it, I would feel even way less lonely and it would be really cool. So I feel like it's going to be a requirement would be like pretty young, like it sounds like below 30 or like early 30s or lower, and then like probably men are mainly going to want to do this if it's 2 dudes, like maybe some girls, I don't know, but
funny enough, we've had girls apply already, and there's actually 2 girls that we're looking at where it's like, holy crap, like they're down for this because they are such powerhouses in their business.
I love that.
So really, I'm going to be pulling the best of the best, and it's going to be about putting the right chemistry of people together.
I love
because the right chemistry of people, it produces. And anyone that's an athlete, anyone that's ever been in sports, they know that. They know that when you go out and you want to become the best, you do it by training with the best. You practice with the best. This is why people will travel cross country just to go play a game of basketball with other players or play a game of soccer with other players because it levels them up. So that is, if you're interested in just leveling up yourself personally, professionally, and financially, go ahead and apply.
Okay.
It costs you nothing to apply. Hit me up on IG, DM me the word growth. Later tonight, I will shoot you over the application. If you're listening to this as a re-recording, go ahead and send it to me. Even if you miss the deadline, you'll be put into the running for the next round as well. It's better to have your application in than to not have it in at all.
I love it. So they reach out to you. We think IG just in general. Like, what if they want to reach out to you for deals? Like, you're buying in Wisconsin. Where else? Give us your deal criteria too.
Yeah, oh sweet. So I'm buying in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if anyone ever gets properties in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, shoot it out to me. I'm buying cash. I'm buying creative. Right now we're still flipping. Typically with our flips, we are buying deeper. I'm more than happy to analyze just about any deal that you guys send over, as long as it is not in the 53206. I will not buy anything in 53206. I just got be clear about that, because people do send me deals out there all the time, and I just straight up tell them no, like it's just not the neighborhood I want to own property in at all.
Okay.
So I will still be buying out there. And then also I'm buying in Arizona. I'm buying creatively. I'm not buying cash in Arizona. I am buying creatively, unless you bring me a deal that's 30 cents on the dollar, in which case I will look at it for cash, but I am buying creative. So if you are an investor and you've been doing a lot of wholesale and you've been struggling with getting your offer accepted, and maybe you have someone who still is motivated to sell and you need help converting it to creative, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help negotiate it, get it accepted on creative financing, and I'll still pay you your assignment fee. I got no problem doing that kind of thing. So the best way to get a hold of me for that sort of stuff as well, if you got a deal for me, is hit me up on IG. Right? Same thing at Mindset Marlon. Just reach out to me. Please say hi, who you are. Please introduce yourself, say your name, and then include the information about the deal as much as possible in that one message, because I do get a lot of messages. So to streamline my response to you, the more information you can include will just help me get back to you with an answer that's valuable and relevant to you much sooner.
I love it. And then what else? What else are you plugging? I know you've got like coaching stuff too. So like, tell me everything. Let's promote Marlon the Beast.
I got you, bro. So two things. One of the major things that I do is I do high performance coaching, which I've absolutely loved, Jonah, because, before real estate, I got to be honest, real estate was it's like the thing I've been doing for the last few years. However, it wasn't the first passion. I was inspired by the Tony Robbins and the Dean Graziosis and the Les Browns and the Eric Thomases of the world to learn about personal development, to learn about mindset. And I've been pursuing that now for years. So actually recently in the last year, I started doing high performance coaching for entrepreneurs, typically people who haven't broken through their first 6 figures yet. And I've been working with them to perform at a higher level by installing high performance habits, because ultimately these individuals, they have the resources. And maybe this sounds like somebody, so if this sounds like you, listen up. You have all the resources, you have the tools, you have the mentorship, you have access to the community, and you've been taking the action, but for some reason you still haven't produced the result. Like, what's up with that? Like, why? You're making the calls, you're sending the text messages, why aren't you producing the result? And what I show them when we sit down and we have a one-on-one and I do like the analysis with them, we often find that what's missing is the identity, the self-identity. So although their dreams are up here, their self-identity is still down here, the way they view themselves. So unfortunately, they're not in alignment with what they're trying to create in their life. And what we work on doing is I work on changing the self-identity by changing the behaviors. And the behaviors are a direct result of the habits. So we work on installing habits into them. And essentially, as their coach, I make sure that they don't fall back into their old habits. So I like to tell them, like, hey, everything I'm going to teach you, and I like to let people know they can do this without me. People don't need me. But I'm like that guy where I work out a lot, Jonah, and I still have a coach, because my coach helps me push myself. They help me stay on task. They help me reduce the amount of time it takes for me to produce the result, because I now have that support. I have that guidance. So I do that. If people are interested in doing any of that high performance coaching, what they can do is DM me the word coach on Instagram, and we can have a conversation about them joining the group coaching that I'm going to be doing in the beginning of the new year. Every time I had a problem in my own life, I went and solved it. And then I realized other people needed the solution. So the last thing earlier, you asked me about community. You asked like, yo, where can I get plugged into community? And you know, quite frankly, until I found community, this business was way too hard. So I created something called the Morning Mindset Coffee alongside with my partner, Maurice. And what that is every single morning, I got entrepreneurs waking up from across the country, jumping onto a call at 7 a.m. to work on their mindset together. Now, I'm going to be honest, over the last year, I ran that call myself personally every single morning, and it was 7 a.m. Eastern. So I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning for over a year, running that call every single day for my people. Now the community has taken momentum of its own. We've got new people inside there leading. We've got one guy, Adam, that comes in and he breaks down just communication and parenting. We got someone else that comes in, they break down multifamily. We get guests that come in on Friday. Like, it's just an awesome place to come and get your mindset right every morning. So that's Morning Mindset Coffee. If people DM me MMC, they can come and try it out. And here's the cool thing. If they want to try that out, I made it super easy. It's $1 to try it out for a week. So they can literally jump inside there. They can start to connect with the community. We just opened up the Discord channel. It's insane. Like, that community of people, I can't even, if I start talking about that, dude, like, we'll be here for another 30 minutes.
Next time, then. Anything else they should DM? Like, just real quick. I'm about to, here's why. Like, is that the last like code? The reason is I'm about to put it on the screen. That's why.
Yeah, so they could DM MMC from Morning Mindset Coffee. They could DM growth to get inside of that growth house. And they can DM me the word coach if they're interested in the group coaching.
My man, any last words? Bro,
I just want to say I appreciate you, man. I love what you're doing here. I love that you're so consistent. Episode 55, bro. Like, that's insane.
I've missed 1 week out of the past year. 1 week. And it's the difference, I think.
Jonah, I mean, you're doing it. You're being consistent. You're putting value out there. You're showing people how to get it done, how to network, how to grow their business, how to grow themselves. So for that, I just want to say thank you, man. Like, it's been an honor to be here, and I appreciate you allowing me to come onto your platform and to share.
100%, bro. I mean, I just love when like you're one of those dudes, like like there's like an echelon of people that, like, especially like the younger guys and like just the younger people in sub 2, like the late 20-year-olds. And it's just so dope seeing everybody winning and like doing their own things and doing crazy stuff like buy it all, flips. And you and me are definitely in that level. And I just love seeing the stuff that you do with everything mindset, everything with the social media. Just when we talk and like we mastermind, it's always a sick time. I'm very jealous of that house. I'm not going to be the right fit, but it's going to be crazy. I'm going to visit the house for sure and see how it's going. 100%. But
bro, we're going to be holding quarterly masterminds at the house too, which like the housemates are already going to get access to, and we'll open it up to a handful of people on the outside to come in for those 2 to 3 days.
I might come for those.
Yeah,
that might be.
Dude, it's gonna be fire. I'm tapping into like my network of like 7, 8, 9-figure earners, and like it's just gonna be such a good time.
I love it, bro. Guys, thank you guys so much. Please, if you enjoyed this, like, comment, and subscribe. Marlon also has a YouTube channel. It's Mindset Marlon, right? Like, what should they look up on YouTube?
Yep. You know what? If they go to my IG, if they look me up on YouTube, just Marlon Johnson, or if you go to my IG, there's a link tree that has the link to everything.
Guys, his YouTube's insane. Follow him. He's doing some cool stuff. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe on it. It's going to be amazing. Like, we're going to keep doing content. I've got like a bunch of good how-tos coming up. It won't just be podcasts and shorts anymore. Like, I'm about to do like how to comp, how to find wholesale deals. It's going to be great. I promise I'll also make some pretty entertaining jokes throughout the entire thing. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. Marlon, thank you so much. I'm going to call it Skorch the Fears, episode 55. Let's go.